there it is. All right. We're in round 2 playoffs.
It's over.
You blew it. You blew it.
Hey, so my opening remarks. Wow, it's echoey in here. I'm in my new basement because it has power now. I made the right choice. My team just sucked.
Did you? No, you should have played Nathan, like I told you to.
And Nathan was my runner-up to not be revisionist history, but I did strongly consider Nathan. But no, I mean, Ross scored less than 100 points. My team.
The question, though, Tim, is would anyone else who would have played Ross would have beaten Ross?
Yes. I'm pretty sure Wes.
I would have beat Ross.
Wes could have beaten Ross. So yes, I did screw this up for the entire league. So I take full blame. And again, I made the right choice because I've scored over 100 points almost every week, and Ross scored under 100 points. So it worked. It's just that, Kirk Cousins had to get his revenge on me, a lowly Vikings fan, and throw a touchdown pass to Drake London, even though he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass for like 3 weeks.
I do think that you said, I'm not worried about Chase Brown either.
I did say that. I did say that. So instead of the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase connection I was looking for, I got a different kind of Burrow Chase connection that I wasn't looking for. So that sucked.
Brutal.
I'm disappointed. I have failed everybody, and I'm sorry, but I still think that I made the right choice. My team was just bad, and not having a second running back ultimately did me in, like I was worried about.
Yeah, wow.
You, on the other hand, just got completely boat raced.
I got put out of my misery quick.
It was over.
I felt decent after Thursday night, and then it was just downhill from there, immediately starting. I didn't even have that bad of 109 points. That's fine. Like, whatever. Like, maybe in the playoffs I would like to score maybe more around the 120 area. But, like, it's not like 109 is crazy low for me. I mean, Stefan is just a beast. He scores a ton of points.
He is really good. Yeah, I mean, if anybody was questioning why he was in the playoffs at 6 and 8, you shouldn't have, because we were talking about how highly his team scores, and he goes in and just proves it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been on him for like the last 4 weeks that
we saw it coming.
He's nasty. Lamar Jackson is really all you need, and then you have one. He had what's his butt?
Mike Evans. Mike Evans and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah. And now Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the Lions' main running back for the rest of the playoffs.
I think Stefan and Libby, I got to make sure they're not playing this week. They are playing this week.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's Wes and Ross versus Libby and Stefan.
And Wes taking care of business too. It's now over to him to take Ross out.
Yeah, again, he scored a ton of points, which is cool, but he did get to play Nathan too. So, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. Wes would have beat anybody but Stefan. But, I mean, he's getting easy draws. So these are the two guys that I didn't want to win or even be close to the championship, and now one of them has to go, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah, so who are you going to root for? Who do you got?
Ross.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. My issues with Ross aside, I can't let Wes win back-to-back years. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at just recapping this first round that, you, me, and Nathan all had winning records, and we lost in the first round of the playoffs to people who were at 500 or below.
Yeah, I mean, it's
weird.
It doesn't matter what your record is earlier in the year. It all matters what your team has been doing near the end of the year. My team is proof positive of that.
Libby's telling us to stay tuned because
Stay
his recap's coming soon. Thanks, Libby. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to just sit back and quietly fade away and not have to talk about my loss.
It was brutal that you said the things that you did last week and you got to pick your guy and you could have stayed away for a week.
Well, and that it came down to Monday Night Football too. Like that game had to mean something, which I knew that it would coming down to the end with Ross. And I'm sitting there, I've got Addison, he's got Drake London. Addison's got more catches and more yards, but London's got the touchdown, and that ultimately makes the difference. If Addison makes one more catch for a good chunk of yards, I'd need 1.5 points. That's it. That's all that I need. And just couldn't get it. The Vikings had to be too good and then only need to run the ball in the second half and not attack. So,
yeah, Stefan's team scored 3, 5, 10, 11 touchdowns.
wow.
His players accounted for 11 touchdowns. Mine accounted for 4. And I still scored 109 points. So, that's just what – and Libby still scored 127 points with Montgomery going out, barely scoring. Saquon had his worst game in a long time. St. Brown had a huge game, and Josh Allen had another humongous game. You just have to have players that have huge games. It doesn't matter really like putting together a overall solid team.
Yeah, I think
Bowers was bad too. So it's
you need a couple of those studs who will just consistently perform for you. For Stefan,
especially for the playoffs, yeah. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are the two most important players in the playoffs.
Yep. And then it comes down to matchups because I think you drew technically the tough luck matchup because you scored enough points to beat half the teams in there, but you just played the wrong team.
Yeah. It'd been hilarious if you would have picked me and I would have beat you. That would have been almost worse than Ross.
I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. I wouldn't be here. You'd be doing it alone.
Which means I wouldn't be doing it. Because this will be – I have another 3 podcast week this week. Because we're doing the Terminator wrap-up and then recording for the week of Christmas on Sunday. Again.
All right. Well, this is the most important one. Safe to say, though, if we're airing our grievances next week, I'm ready. I'm writing my list, and I'm checking it twice. I've got a lot of grievances.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll plan on that. I know my number one grievance is going to be after this weekend is West going to the championship again.
I want to look at that matchup a little more closely. West is favored by a lot. That San Francisco running back that Ross has looks like he's not going to be playing. So yeah. I think Ross is still kind of beat up, and this I shouldn't say it, but should be an easy win for Wes.
It should be, theoretically. Jerry Jeudy is a top 10 wide receiver now.
With, I guess, Jameis Winston
who's now, not playing.
Yeah, it's now Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Dr. Dorian. I don't know. No one could have guessed Jerry Jeudy being top 10, though.
No, he has Tucker Kraft.
He does. Yeah, he's. I regret dropping him, but he managed to sneak him back on, and they're playing New Orleans this weekend and need to win. So I feel like they'll have a good game.
He's tough. He's tough because he is pretty touchdown dependent, just like every other Packer wide receiver.
But Bijan Robinson is going to need to be the feature back because
Atlanta the Giants. That's a good.
Yeah, and Rico Dowdle has been really good, kind of a sneaky good pickup. And James Cook is a beast.
He's had Rico all year, I'm pretty sure.
He drafted him for $1. That's going to be a good keeper next year, probably for him.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the Cowboys running back? I would imagine they draft a running back, but we'll see. They might
Yeah,
draft that Boise State running back.
I'm looking at Ross's lineup. He's got Rodgers in there as a starting quarterback. It's almost like he's taunting us of like, look at how
4 of his guys are questionable.
Yeah, this. I'm pretty sure he's just taunting us that he's like, look at how bad this lineup looks, and it doesn't matter because I'm going to win no matter what.
There is a reason why Ross. Yeah, that's true. Hurts late in the season. Tough. The Eagles turned into like the best team in the league.
It's funny that Libby's saying that I made Wes a beast.
Yeah,
he won a very lopsided trade.
Tone it down, Libby. No, but I was gonna say the reason why we had Ross so low in the power rankings for so long is look at his team. It doesn't look good on paper, and he was losing games. The only reason why we had to like keep moving him up is he just started winning.
Yeah, it's a terrible team on paper, and I bet he'll put Mahomes back in his lineup because I think he's going to play. But still,
I think he is scheduled to start now. Which is, I mean, Mahomes has turned into LeBron, where he once every season looks like he's gone down for like a career-ending injury, and then everyone speculates that night, oh no, maybe you should rest him, save him for the playoffs and that. And then like Andy Reid comes up to the podium on Friday and is like, yeah, he's going to play.
Yeah, it's annoying.
What?
The Chiefs are annoying.
Didn't he break his leg in half? They're like, nah, he's good.
Wes has entered the chat.
The last person I wanted to be here. This is devastating.
Yeah, he did. I think he sent a GIF to us this week, a Star Wars GIF that I ignored.
All I gotta say is I'm. That's fair. That's
Who's
true.
Ben?
What?
Who's Ben?
Oh yeah, who's Ben? I'm Team Stefan. I'm Team Stefan all the way. Take it home, buddy.
In here, maybe
you're my guy.
Maybe we'll jinx him, but I think he's been both of our guys this year, and I think Stefan's just kind of hung around the past few years since joining the league, and this is his
hanging around.
I'm buying
hanging around.
Let's give Stefan his flowers. Let's give him a championship.
I mean, doesn't he have Zay flowers? He already got his flowers.
We'll give him another. We'll give him more flowers. Yeah, he also
has Zay flowers.
That would have worked really well. He also has the best team name, and he made the best profile picture.
He does. He's pot committed this year. He's followed all the rules of the league.
He is on our live streams most often too.
That's true. It's going to be tight. So 118, 122. Libby's currently starting Tyrone Tracy, who's questionable, and T. Higgins, who I believe didn't practice again today.
Yeah. Thank you, Stefan.
There we go.
And
Saquon.
It's 6 straight semifinal. I can't believe that's true. This league is rigged. The commissioner should not be this good.
Saquon had a humongous game against the Commanders the last time they played. I'm trying to do work here, Wes.
Right? I can choose not to feature these.
Saquon, huge against the Commanders. I don't see him having a bad week again. Josh Allen playing the Patriots. That's a pretty good matchup for him. Again, I don't know if he can continue to score 30 points every single week. Libby is like the only one that has the QB to balance out Lamar. And Lamar is playing Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh dominates Lamar.
Yeah, this should be the championship. If I were to choose, I would like this to be like for the league, but this is how the cards fall.
Yeah. So I would imagine currently on paper, Libby probably walks away from this one. I guess Wes like basically has to, like, he would have to do terrible. It's It's just becoming childish. Um, so Wes drafted Bijan Robinson and Devontae Smith. Is that the only two that he drafted?
Yep. And
No, you got Devontae in a trade from you.
the trade in question that Libya is referring to is I traded him he traded me. Wait, hang on. I'm trying to get this.
I got it. So it's Devonta and Jalen Hurts. You traded him for Justin Herbert and Gus Edwards. So you traded him 2 Eagles players that have been really good over the last 4 weeks for
people,
a quarterback that you never start and Gus
running
Edwards.
back that lost me the playoffs. Okay, maybe Libby has a bit of a point.
To you and Tom, you suspect.
To be fair,
retainer.
I really needed that running back, and he was my best option at the time. But that's a hindsight and bad. That's a bad trade. But I still think Libby's is more lopsided. And Wes said something nice. Happy Christmas.
Thanks, Wes. I do love you, but fantasy football hate you.
The fantasy football hate is different. It really is.
So technically, with the projections, Ross is starting Garendo in his lineup currently, who is projected for 0. If he puts Pacheco in, that would put him up to 97. You'd only be 12 points down about then instead of 20. Changes the math a little bit on what you're looking at, but again, Metcalf questionable, Cade Otton questionable, Bucky Irving questionable. A lot of swings there.
The thing he has going for him, though, is that everybody except for Aaron Rodgers, he's got teams that are playing for playoffs and they're relevant teams. I think that's something you also need to look at. I suppose West does too. But any team that's out of the playoffs, I wouldn't bother starting people.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just think that's the way it's going to end up. It will be Wes versus Libby. The battle of the Buffalo Bills running back versus the Buffalo Bills starting quarterback. All right, let me see. What was the trade that got Wes James Cook?
That was a trade with Drew, I believe.
So Wes Drew received Jordan Mason, who's on the IR, Christian McCaffrey, who's also on the IR, and Tyler Lockett, who is the third best wide receiver on his team. Irrelevant. And Wes got James Cook, Xavier Worthy, and Chris Olave, who is on the IR.
So essentially 5-0 players, and then
so you got James Cook for Tyler Lockett, and a couple of games of Jordan Mason that Drew was able to play.
Yeah.
This is the year of lopsided trades.
I was going to say, if you got a lopsided trade, I think that's the key to your success.
Again, having to make everything about me. I may have started this trend last year where when you're about to lose and know that your team is going downhill and not going to make the playoffs, you just start unloading your guys.
That's true. Yeah, and I just remember too that I traded Stefan Jahmyr Gibbs, who I probably should have held on to. He gave me George Kittle. He also gave me Jalen Hurts, who I gave away for nothing. So we can also say that Stefan's team benefits from a lopsided trade as well.
Hugh Bono.
And then we have Ross, who doesn't need to do anything, has a bad team, and is still here because he's Ross.
What are you going to do?
You can't.
Whose team is better? Mine or Ross's on paper?
On paper, yours is better because you've got Garrett Wilson and Justin Jefferson, and Jaden Daniels, probably the best rookie quarterback of the year.
I did make the wrong choice between Thielen and Keenan Allen, but the nice thing about getting blown out is
Doesn't matter.
you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Because I think Brian Robinson was a decent running back when he was healthy for you.
Yeah, he got injured. I got Eckler from you, and then both those guys really didn't do all that much after that.
But yeah, Ross does not have studs like Wilson and Jefferson are on his lineup. There's not really one person on his lineup who is I don't know, Drake London. That's probably it. And then Chase Brown kind of came out of nowhere, but it's just all these middling people. His kicker and defense are in the top 3, so I guess there's that.
I guess the only team we didn't talk about was Lucas, who kind of had a rough end of the year, and kind of everything came to roost here. Bo Nix, hot for a while, ended up coming back down to earth against Indianapolis through 3 picks. Derrick Henry has slowed down a bunch over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's probably tired.
Calvin Ridley, not good this year. DeAndre Hopkins, not good. Travis Kelce hasn't been good all year. And Darnell Mooney finally wasn't like the best wide receiver in the league and scored 0 points.
Yep. Yeah. Chiefs scored 20 points on defense, though, because they're the Chiefs. But yeah, Lucas did have kind of a tough year where it looked good for a bit, but I think he just kind of fell apart at the end. And Kelce never got that end of the year bump that we all thought he would get.
Do you have any parting words for the end of Kirk Cousins' career as a starting quarterback? I don't think he'll retire, but I don't think he'll be a starting quarterback for a while.
You really put me on the spot here.
Unless Rodgers retires and like the Jets or the Giants, like, hey, maybe we'll throw some money at Kirk. Atlanta's going to have to pay him the next 2 years anyway.
I will say, because I'm not a hater, I will say thank you for being okay for us. And I'm really glad that you're okay for somebody else right now and that I don't have to think about you anymore.
That's the best. It's crazy how much more exciting your QB feeling is once Kirk Cousins leaves your team.
Oh yeah. It's like a weight is taken off of your back, because with Kirk, you kind of always knew it was going to happen. And it's just a treat to watch a quarterback get rushed by a pass rush and just like run away from it and not just fall apart. It really is a treat to watch. I'm sure with Aaron Rodgers all those years, you kind of got used to it, but we haven't had that, and it's been really nice.
It's only going to get better when JJ McCarthy starts.
I'm ready. Despite a bad fantasy year that I've had, even though I won the regular season, it's been secondary. This has been a great Viking season, and I've contained my excitement, but it's starting to get real.
What you're going to have to get ready with JJ McCarthy, because I have to start transitioning into not having him be one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, is you're going to have to get used to a lot of rolling out to the right over and over and over again. And then basically him being unable to throw it to one side of the field unless he's like in the pocket and it's his first read. So yeah, if Jefferson lines up on the left side of the field, unless he's cutting across the middle, he's just never going to get the ball.
That may be true, but if anybody can fix it, Kevin O'Connell can, or he'll find a way to make it work, I believe.
It's tough.
He's the QB whisperer.
It's tough. All right. That's all I got. Boo to Wes. I guess, Ross, I don't think you're going to make it, but hopefully you do. And then congratulations, Libby. You won the championship, and the Lions will not win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess we gave you some good content for your letter. Thanks for burying that lead for us and making me do this.
Do you want the spoiler for what movie we're covering, what franchise we're covering next? Because it's going to come out tonight anyway.
Is it Die Hard?
Our episode. It is Die Hard.
That's what I guessed. I figured it would be.
Yes. Definitely didn't make that as secret if you've been listening along. But yes, Die Hard, which technically won the Facebook vote, but we screwed up the way the polling worked on it. So technically, we're covering the two winners of the poll back to back.
Yeah.
Terminator was a bust from a numbers standpoint on listens and stuff like that compared to Batman and Alien.
Interesting.
Nobody gave a poop about.
I listened to the latest one yesterday, and I just like the arguing. I liked the contention. I enjoyed that. It made for a fun podcast.
I told Chris after that I'm never gonna have a political career. They just listen to that episode. I'm out. I can't do anything.
It was fantastic. It was like if I were on and just talking about how much I love the Star Wars prequels, and everybody was like giving me all the reasons why they weren't good, and I was just like, I don't care. I just like them.
It's a terrible movie. It's Dark Fate. Dark Fate is an abomination.
But I have noticed that the bad movies like that make for good podcasts because you argue about it. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, because inevitably one of us likes the movie a lot more than it should be liked. I just can't stand the political agenda and all that nonsense.
Didn't want to actually watch the movie. I will say that. I just enjoyed the discourse.
No, don't watch the movie. I mean, it's not that bad. Honestly, it's really not that bad for like a throwaway part of a franchise. Like it could be way, way worse. They're definitely like worse made movies than the Alien franchise, but just like the content of it, you're just rolling your eyes at the entire time. You're like, oh yeah, you gotta do. It reminded me of the, I think I said it on the episode of the newer Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, that was, I kind of raised my eyebrows, but I suppose you're not wrong.
I'm like, oh, you're telling the same story as Terminator 2. You're just replacing women for the male characters previous. Like you're not really doing that much. So, and then my whole overarching argument is I don't care about doing that, but just tell a different story. And it just happens to be women that are in the lead roles. Don't just do like the full apology tour, which is like, this is the movie we should have made back then. So we're just going to remake it and then just put women in the main roles.
And this is a problem with movies these days, but I don't think it's going to be a huge problem because in 2 years, AI will be writing all of our movies and it's just going to be completely different and that'll be fun.
It's kind of like, I recently watched The Substance, which I also didn't really like all that much. And it's basically a Black Mirror episode. That they just turned into a movie because they don't make Black Mirror anymore. And there's parts of it that are like basically seem like they're written by AI. I mean, the new Superman movie by James Gunn, who I really like, that trailer looks awful.
Yes, it does. I watched that this morning. Not interested.
What are you like? The Zack Snyder trailer for his Superman movie at least looked like great and like had a lot of, pomp and circumstance along to it. And you're like, oh, this is going to be cool. Then it sucked. But that like James Gunn, like he was able to get away with the goofy stuff in Guardians of the Galaxy because those characters are goofy, but you can't do that with Superman. I can't have an hour or a minute and 15 seconds into the trailer, he's calling Superdog.
Yeah.
Already?
Stupid.
What?
I'm already out on superhero movies, but it will be interesting to watch you guys do Die Hard, the first one at least, because that is a great movie.
Die Hard 2 is amazing. I really, really like the first Die Hard. Obviously, it's a classic for a reason. The Die Hard 2 and Die Hard 3 are so fun. Die Hard 2 is amazing because every time that I go to a airport because it all happens in an airport, it's It's awesome. There's this huge fight in like the behind the baggage claim area. So they're like pulling stuff out of the baggage and like banging each other over the head with it. It's great. Also, they blow up an entire plane full of civilians.
Collateral damage.
Pre 9/11.
Yeah,
they're like, what would happen if a plane got hijacked? Everyone die on it.
Yikes! Yeah, that hasn't aged well.
It's aged amazing for me. Bruce Willis rules.
He's awesome. And Alan Rickman in the first one. Alan Rickman is incredible.
Ho ho ho.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah, that should be fun. We'll have that out probably by Monday. It depends on how much editing I want to do on Sunday.
That's
Doing
true.
Sunday recordings into Sunday night, Monday editing, not fun.
You know what's been great about the podcast this year? No editing. It's
Just
a crappy
throw it up.
live stream. We just
Throw it up.
Yeah, it's been great. I don't have that as a grievance. I'll have plenty of other grievances, and send your grievances. We'll read them sometime next week. They might all be from me.
Yeah, I mean, I have to edit the movie one, or else my real thoughts on women would get out there.
Or, I mean, yeah.
All right. Looking forward to the letter, Libby. Hopefully we gave you something to talk about. Sucks to be you, Tim.
I hate
and
fantasy.
go
I love
Stefan.
real football.
Go Stefan.
Go Stefan. Football.
Football.